Hey guys, welcome back to 5 Drinks Through Midnight, Quarantine Edition. Today, we're going to talk to Blaise Kelly from JJ Corry. But before we do, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.
All right. Blaise Kelly, thank you so much for joining us at 5 Drinks for Midnight. 5 questions, 5 drinks, or midnight, whatever comes first. For our first question, I guess, what are we drinking with first?
Okay, well, hello. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here from the comfort of my home in Dublin. And my first drink tonight, which I think is very well deserved, because myself and the rest of the JJ Corry team have been working pretty hard on this for the last couple of weeks. I'm having a Hansen highball.
Excellent.
So the Hansen, which I assume will have just launched by the time this airs, is our blended grain whiskey. So this is a core member of our portfolio. And it's our first blended grain that we're going to have in wide release. And this first batch is a blend of 3 casks. So one really special 4-year-old grain that we matured fully on our farm. So we bought the spirit, we put it into our own casks that Louise sourced from Kentucky, and it came straight to our farm in Corry, and it spent its life there until being made into the Hansen. And the other 2 casks are 10-year-old grain, everything's matured in ex-bourbon, and I'm having it in a highball with just a bit of soda and some lime, which is refreshing and beautiful.
Excellent. Well, I was lucky to get a little sample of it, so I'm really excited. It's wonderful. I had one sample before we got on the call, and now one sample in my highball. So cheers to you.
Cheers.
Just highball. Yeah, and it's damn good.
It's so good because we've obviously, I think we've been going pretty hard on the highball for the last year. We've been talking about it a lot. We've gotten really into it. I think the Hansen goes so well with it because it's really sweet. It's really like citrus forward, which goes great with that lime. But it has a lot of warmth in it. It has like really nice toasted vanilla, good bit of a ginger spice. Like those warm spices kind of come through, and I think it's perfect balance in this.
Agreed. All right, so on to question 1. How did somebody who studied law, Jewish and Islamic cultures end up meeting Louise and becoming employee number 1 at JJ Corry?
I don't know if I have answered that well for anyone yet. I think someone who studied law being driven to whiskey isn't that uncommon.
Nope.
I think that happens quite a lot. And I think it just happened to me a little earlier on. So my first degree in college was Jewish and Islamic Civilizations and Latin, a really random one in Trinity, because where else would you go to learn such a degree, such a course in Ireland?
How did the Louise and Blaise connection happen? How did that really kind of take off?
Totally by chance, and I think it was total fate, and I sound like a total choose by saying that, but people always ask, and I don't have a better answer. I was going to leave my job. I was working for a financial software company in a huge conglomerate in their legal department, and my plan was to quit and go back to working my restaurant job. And then I found out about a course that the Irish government was running. It's called the IBEC Global Grad Programme, and loads of people in the whiskey industry, or in the Irish whiskey industry, kind of got their start in this programme. It's a really great programme that pairs graduates with small exporting companies in the food and drink sector. So I just applied for the programme. I went and met with them. I wanted to work for any whiskey company. I was really into whiskey. My sister was giving beer and whiskey tours in Dublin at the time. So, and it was kind of right in the middle of our whiskey renaissance. It was on everyone's lips. So I was like, I want to be a part of this. It's a really fun story to talk about. And I went in for the interview, and I hadn't heard of Louise. I hadn't heard of the Chapelgate Whiskey Company as it was trading as at the time. And they were like, okay, I think you need to meet this woman, Louise McGrath. I think you get on. And so I went and I interviewed with her, and she was so cool. I was kind of blown away by how cool this woman was. First of all, I asked her if I could meet her at 8 a.m. because like all the interviews were in the middle of the day and I had a case going on that week and I could barely make it out of the office. And I was like, do you mind meeting me at 8 a.m. on Monday? And I knew she was coming up from Clare and she was like, yeah, absolutely no problem. She rocked in and she was like, oh yeah, so I was up in Dublin anyway last night. I was at the Guns N' Roses concert in Slane Castle. And I was like, oh my God, you're so much cooler than me. I don't know how to converse with you. And yeah, it was just like complete like match from there. We got on really well. And I was like, I want to work for a woman like Louise. I want to work for this badass trailblazer who's just come home to Ireland and is going to take over, you know, the whiskey industry. I was totally inspired by her, and yeah, went from there.
Awesome, that's amazing. That's fucking great story. So, all right, excellent. Well, that's question one. So super easy, almost done. There we go. On to our second question. So we are gonna drink the Whiskey Thief Sour. All right.
Yeah, Whiskey Thief Sour.
Oh, that's so good. Oh.
Love a sour.
Well, and again, I think the Whiskey Thief, because it's your youngest spirit in the collection, right?
Yeah, so it has a little bit of 2010, so it's a blended grain as well, so it's not a million miles away from the Hansen, and it has a bit of 10-year-old in it, but it also has 4-year-old casks in there too. I think it's the brightest. This is a bit more citrus than the Hansen. I think the Hansen has a bit more like kind of warm fruits, like kind of more juicy, like peachy stuff, whereas this I think is very like lemon meringue pie kind of flavor is what I get in the front of the palate.
I get that as well, yeah. So like, and it works so well in the sour because it
so
just
perfect.
brings in that, yeah. So all right, so on to our second question. What's the day in life of Blaise Kelly, the International Growth and Marketing Manager of JJ Corry?
Oh my God. Well, it's a little bit different at the moment. So a day in the life of Blaise in quarantine is get up, go down to the sea just so I can like wet my face. I live near the water in Ireland, and then come back and sit at my desk and do like an office job for most of the day. And then if I'm lucky, I have some cool Zoom tastings or drinks or like some really cool live streams to tune into. Louise has been doing a lot of them, so they've been for good evening watching and drinking alone and making you feel like you're not drinking alone. But I guess you mean in a more general sense, my job, it's funny to give it a title because it's always just been I was employee number one, so it was like you just do everything, and we don't pay people to do that. Like we just do it ourselves and you kind of make your own job. Which is amazing. So I do a lot of kind of new market business development. So I might be like on calls with wholesalers and like talking about expanding into new markets and kind of building those relationships. Or I might be working with designers and creatives. Like I do a lot in terms of my product development, which is such a fun thing to get my hands into. And then like in terms of marketing and plans and strategy, Louise is great, and we're charged to foster an environment. Like as the company grows, we now have 5 employees, and as the company grows, she's like made sure to make an environment in which people can always contribute their ideas and be like, hey, I want to do this thing. Can we do this thing? And she's like, yeah, go do the thing. And I think the Whiskey Thief was a very special one for me with that, because we kind of talked about doing something in honor of women in the industry and women in business, International Women's Day for a while. We talked about doing a charitable release for a while, and then I kind of came to her, I was like, how do we put all these ideas together? And we came up with the Whiskey Thief, and she was like, yeah, go run with it, here's a budget. So it was such an exciting project to work on. I really got to kind of go from start to finish. So we partnered with these amazing designers from Dublin, Jill and Jill, and they're like designers, artists, creatives, apparel designers. And initially the plan was, hey, let's get them to make us some t-shirts. And then it kind of developed into, will you please design a bespoke label for whiskey that we're going to release on International Women's Day to raise funds for a female focused charity called Dress for Success Dublin. which supports women in need to get back into work, and provides apparel, provides training, provides support to kind of help women gain financial independence. So a really great organisation. They operate internationally, and it was kind of a no-brainer for us to get involved in an organisation like that, being women in business. You know, Louise, we've all kind of faced some degree of sexism or discrimination. You know, it's still a thing when you're a woman going in to do the presentation or to ask, you know, to do fundraising. It's still noted. So that was to support an organisation that helps women in that professional sense was kind of important to us. And yeah, Whiskey Beef was what we came up with. We just collected all the auction money, and we raised over €5,000 for Dress for Success, selling 100 of these little bottles. You yourself contributed. We're really grateful to everyone that bought a bottle and kind of helped get the word out there about this. But yeah, sorry, that was a very long tangent of an answer. But the Whiskey Beef kind of represents why it's so great working for a small company, why it's great working for a company that tries to foster innovation and new thinking. You know, this kind of thing hadn't been done in the Irish whiskey industry before, and it was cool to put it out there.
All right.
So,
let's get on to our question 3. So we are drinking
Gold Rush Boulevardier.
Excellent.
We're getting a bit fancy up in here.
Get that pinky out.
Yeah, the Boulevardier was like my cocktail when I moved to New York, and kind of got some notions above my station. I don't think I ever had a Boulevardier before I moved to New York, and my first night I remember drinking a few of them was the Repeal Day party in Employees Only.
Okay.
And it was, oh my god, my puny little mind was blown that night. It was so wild. I'd only been in New York for, I say, less than a month, and yeah, it was very fun. And I was drinking Boulevardiers, and I was like, oh Blaise, you're not in Kansas anymore.
I do remember that was your drink, because that we did have those at Little Branch and Attaboy when we went there. So that was your drink of choice. So
and then I hadn't really drank very much of them since leaving New York. And then when I got my first sip of the Gold Rush, which only just launched a couple of weeks ago, we made this with Folsom Wine and Spirits in California. So it's our first US Founders blend. And it is not a 9-year-old grain whiskey that's being finished in mezcal casks. And it is so glorious. It's one of my favorite whiskeys we've ever released. This flavor profile just rocks to me.
How would you sell JJ Corry? Like, how would you
okay. The reason, I think I get what you're saying now. How I get someone to try something they've never heard of, and you know, when we have no reputation. Absolutely. And I think the reason for my confusion there was like, oh my god, it's pretty easy. Like when you go to America, like especially 2 years ago, when Irish whiskey was just like, you know, kind of only starting its growth there. At trade shows, at events, when you come over and tell someone about a new Irish whiskey, people got so excited. Everyone wanted to kind of try Irish whiskey, because, you know, people have become familiar with Jameson primarily in the last 10 years, and then all the smaller companies started going over, and the quality of stuff that was being sent over just like went up and up. And as a category, I feel like it's been a really fun thing to sell. But yeah, JJ Corry, how I sell to new people is that we're doing kind of the classics. We're doing it really well. We're going back to basics. You know, we're bonders, and we don't distill. So for anyone that doesn't know what bonding is, we source new make spirit from distilleries around Ireland. We source mature whiskey stocks, and we age, we blend, we finish, and we bottle whiskies on our farm in Corry. So whiskey bonding is a really old style of whiskey making in Ireland. Back in the 1800s, early 1900s, the bonders were the publicans. So if you had a pub, you were probably bonding whiskey. You had access to barrels. You take your empty barrels to the local distillery. You would fill them with spirit. You'd age, and you just make blends for, you know, the customers in your pub, but also local families. And this all died out in the 30s because of the collapse of the industry. And Louise brought it back. You know, we're the first modern whiskey bonders in Ireland, and we're doing things really traditionally. And because we're not distilling, our primary focus is what juice we're getting, how we're aging it, and how we're blending it. And I think that allows us, because we're not spending all our time distilling, what we can focus on means we're a lot less limited. I don't want to say that, it sounds like a bad word, but you know, we can do a lot. We can make really unique stuff because we can get spirit from all over. Our cask program, like where we're sourcing our casks from, we can put a lot of time and energy into that. And being a small company and having pretty much no one to answer to allows us to go out into the blender room and be like, I wonder how this will work. And you know, Louise, the reason we did the Gold Rush and the reason we did the Battalion was because Louise was just on a visit to the States. She was, you know, on a sales trip over to the States. She went up to meet these guys in the Cooperage in Maine, and they were like, "Hey, we have like a whole bunch of mezcal and tequila casks. Do you want to try some?" And she was like, "Yeah, let me go back and ask the board." No, of course not. She was like, "Yeah. Send them over, and let's make loads of whiskey out of it." So, yeah, it's a really fun story. You know, it's really fun brand story to tell. Bonding is a really fun story to tell. People are interested. You know, it's something a little bit different. And when we come out with, oh yeah, we only have 250 bottles of this made ever. You know, it's the world's, you know, only mezcal finished blended grain whiskey from Ireland. People are interested.
Yeah.
And I think the stories that we use kind of hook people in as well. Like, what's your favorite whiskey? Like, out of all the whiskeys, blah, blah, blah. And I always say the Gale.
Yeah.
And I know and they're like, oh, what a company answer. I'm like, literally, it is my favorite whiskey. I could drink this whole bottle right now. And I love that batch 2 is different. You know, it is. Yeah. You can taste the serious difference. You can see the development. All the casks are older. You know, there is change. There is, you know, it's a little bit more mature. I think Eric liked to call it the Gale with legs. Yeah. But it's still just that beautiful, like floral, like pink peppercorn, like sweet. Oh, it's just everything I want a whiskey to be, and it's just like Irish whiskey through and through. It's so perfect.
Cheeks are all red, but like on to question 4.
I know my lighting is killing me. I'm getting all.
I know, like I have my big ring light. I'm like, fuck, I'm getting really red. But
I just have like 3 IKEA lights, like blinding my retinas.
I will let you know. I asked everybody. I sent out a message asking everybody, being like, "Do they have questions for you?" Nobody responded.
Oh my God, you're so loyal.
You say loyal. I think scared as fuck. So like they were like, "Oh, we're not gonna." Our next question actually comes from our mutual friend Mike. He wants to know, being a spirit show vet, do you have a trade show good or bad story?
Trade show good or bad story? Ooh, oh, that's so tough, Mike. God, they all kind of, when you do all these trade shows, they kind of blur into one. I think, I'm gonna have to be really cheesy, but I think like the good stories that happen during the trade shows in New York is the community and how you see all the same people time after time, and you're all kind of, you know, half of them are like super in the industry, and then half of them just go to one and, you know, they're just doing a job. But you can see the same faces over and over again, and you become friends with them. And when I was in London for the Bridie launch, just last month? Yeah, in start of March. Yeah. In walks Mike from Compass Box, and I was like mind blown. It was amazing. I was like, guys, this is like, you know, I kind of felt like it was like pretend, because it was like it was a past life. And you know, everyone in London doesn't know Blaise from New York, who did the whiskey shows. And it was really cool to be like, oh guys, here's Mike from, you know, I know him from all the whiskey shows. This is from my old gigs. And yeah, I think the best story I have from doing whiskey shows in New York are the people that I met and the people that I ended up having a stand beside, and you know, I'm still friends to today and still stay in touch with. I made such cool friends in the whiskey industry in New York, and it wasn't like people, you know, trying to stab each other in the back and being competitive. Like, everyone just was so nice, helping each other out, sharing experience, swapping bottles.
All right, so question 5, what are we drinking?
Oh wait, I need a moment
Okay.
to unwrap it. Got a lot of bubble wrap here.
Are we doing the Bridie or the
Chosen.
Oh shit. It's fucking huge.
Oh my god, that packaging. 32 to 100. Oh my god. You know, I hand packed every single one. You know, I literally am the person that put that in that box. There
you go, and
got like this little thing. I didn't get the quarantine time. This is a quarantine drink. Like, when else can you justify drinking $7,000, $8,000 whiskey?
When you're about to get married, die.
The reason it's called the Chosen is because it's like the chosen cask. When Louise started the business and got her hands on a load of old, you know, whiskey stocks, she went with our, you know, blender that we use, and they tried every single cask that was offered to them. They didn't take every, you know, there was a load of 1991 casks. They didn't just take them all. They tasted every single one. They thought about it. They tasted every cask that we bought. And when everyone tasted this cask, there was like a, oh whoa, like, everyone take a seat, take a breath. Like, this is something else. This is something totally special. Like, the color was like, it just kind of blew their minds. And I can tell you, I understand why. Because all the other casks we got, we didn't take any bad ones. We got great stuff, but this just, there was something so special about it. And everyone, like, that day, Louise was like, okay, this is being earmarked. This is going to be a single cask. This is going to be a really special release. And I loved working on the Chosen, because when I started with the company in 2017, like, I think the third email that I got from Louise was about the Chosen, and it was her telling me about this cool new project and who we were going to be working with for it. And, you know, it took like 2.5 years to really get it going. And I'd forgotten about that email. I'd forgotten that Louise had sent it to me so early on. But when I was working on the Chosen, I was searching in my emails for something, and I typed in, you know, a few keywords, and it was kind of coming up to the launch time, and it was hyper stress mode. And I typed in the keywords, and then I was like, no, it was older. And I went to like see oldest first, and that email came up, and I totally forgotten about the email. And it was like the initial kind of idea deck of what it was, and we were going to work with, why we were doing it. And I was like, wow, like, this has been in the works for so long. This was like the first thing I was told about what we were doing in the company. And now we're actually getting to the stage where we're launching it. And I like, this is absolute highlight of my career. This project, getting to work on it, getting, you know, bring all the production together. And it was when I just left New York, and I was kind of a bit lost, I guess. I just left my job in New York. I moved to London. You know, job was global now, it was marketing. I was like, what does that mean? What do I do? And I started kind of, all my focus just went on this project. And it was the first time that I really got to work closely with the team. So myself and, like, obviously I'd worked with Louise a lot before, but myself and Mia got really close working on this together. And it was so nice to kind of have a team around me. And Eric as well. I spent a lot of time on the farm with Eric, with the Chosen, and I really got to know everyone. And just, yeah, it's like a bond, you know. Like, one day we'll all get the Chosen tattooed on our asses, and we'll have this memory together. Cheers.
All right, so on to question 5. Do you have a Whiskey Wednesday coin with you?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do. All right, so it's a flip of a coin. It's yes or no. You can spin it, you can flip it, you can do whatever you want, but it's all flip of the coin. So question 5, are London cocktails better than New York cocktails?
Okay, I'm gonna spin it.
All right.
Woo.
Fuck no, they're not.
Fuck no.
Damn right, New York cocktails are the shit. So
believed it. Thought I was like, I don't know if I can hold this up if it fell the other way. I haven't found my dream Boulevardier in London yet, but you know what? I've been a much better behaved Blaise since I've been in London. I need to get out there more.
See, and that just sounds terrible. No one wants a much better behaved Blaise than
A well-behaved Blaise is like a total oxymoron. It's not
Yeah.
fun. No.
Well, that's our 5 drinks.
Amazing.
It's almost midnight. And
It's midnight. It's almost Friday. It's almost Friday too.
Friday. It's
Got
almost
me through. Yeah,
So-
today was like, I just had to make it through the end of like the working day today, and I was like, and then it will be drinks with Tim and
There you
catch
go.
ups, and then it will be Friday.
That'll be Friday.
And yeah, all the good stuff this weekend.
And then